There's a planet, Cybertron, and the universe where intelligent robots live. They have special gears with which they can transform into various vehicles. In the city of Iacon, a robot named Orion Pax secretly sneaks into an old archive and watches a historical documentary. It turns out that the first robot transformer was Primus. He turned into the planet Cybertron and created other transformers from its core, which were called primes. To maintain their existence, the robots used a substance called energon. Primus also created a leadership matrix. Alas, after many centuries, it disappeared, and with it disappeared the source of energon. Orion is noticed by the archive guards and chase after him. Our hero does not have a gear for transformation, and the guards are sure that he will not hide from them. However, stupid robots underestimate Orion. He can run fast, jump from a great height, land deftly, hide in a crowd, and use various vehicles. However, the archive guards are still catching up with him. Fortunately, Orion is saved by his faithful friend Die-16 and stealthily leads him away from his pursuers. It turns out that our hero dreams of finding the matrix of leadership lost many centuries ago. With it, the source of energon will return, which means that Orion, along with other mining robots who do not have a transformation gear, will not have to extract it with great difficulty in a deep energon mine. The fact is that Orion hates his job and dreams of something more.
As a sign of gratitude for the rescue, our hero gives D-16 a sticker with Megatronus Prime. It was the strongest transformer of all who ever lived on Cybertron. The robot miners under the leadership of Alita begin the next working shift in the mine. They need to get a new portion of energon. This is a hell of a difficult task, and robots have to put a lot of effort. At some point, a collapse occurs in the mine, and all the workers immediately leave the dangerous place. However, the evacuation is not very successful. Robot Jazz can't get out from under the rubble. Orion and D-16 rush to their aid. They save a friend, but their actions lead to even greater destruction, a complete collapse of the mine and an explosion of energon. The head of the Mining League, a robot named Darkwing, accuses Alita of violating protocol and transfers her to the Waste Management Department. What a humiliation! Orion D-16 tries to stand up for their boss, but it doesn't end well for them. The leader of Cybertron, Sentinel Prime, returns from the next expedition. During the online broadcast, he reports that he was looking for the leadership matrix, but hasn't found it yet. And so that the robots don't get too upset, Sentinel Prime is organizing a race tomorrow, an Iacon 5000. Orion invites D-16 to take part in this race. There, they will be able to prove that they are capable of more than being simple mining robots. Why are they worse than others? D-16 reminds a friend that they do not know how to transform and only disgrace themselves. But Orion is very determined. They, together with a friend, illegally enter the track where the races are held. Sentinel Prime appears at the stadium and tells that recently his squad successfully repelled an attack by cruel alien invaders who are called Quintessential. Racers prepare for the start and transform into various vehicles to accelerate as much as possible. Using jetpacks, Orion and D-16 descend to the track and also become participants in the competition. All residents of the city are in shock. These are ordinary miners who don't know how to transform. It's almost impossible to survive on such races, but a couple of our brave robots are doing everything possible to win. They get a lot of serious damage, but they still get almost to the finish line. After the race and repair of Orion, I-16 personally visits with Prime. The leader of Cybertron praises the robots for their bravery and says that they have increased the morale of all miners.
Now the mines produce even more energon. Alas, instead of a reward, Orion's D-16 receive serious punishment. The fact is that the evil Darkwing no longer wants to work with them and sends a couple of our robots to a garbage recycling plant. There, Orion and D-16 get acquainted with the robot scavenger B-127. It turns out that this poor guy is very bored, so he creates fake robots for himself and communicates with them as if they are alive. Among the various junk, Orion suddenly finds a chip with a message from one of the first primes, Alpha Trion. It reports some kind of trap and transmits the coordinates of the leadership matrix. Our heroes understand that this is their chance to show themselves as real heroes. To do this, you need to get out of the garbage collector using a special cargo belt for garbage removal. However, Alita appears on the path of our heroes, who now also works here and tries to stop them. As a result of a furious chase, they all find themselves on the surface of Cybertron. It's very beautiful here. Orion informs Alita that he has found out the location of the leadership matrix. And at this moment, huge, sharp crystals grow on the surface of the planet. They destroy the train and all the robots fall down. Our heroes survive, but now they can't go back.
Alita is furious. Orion suggests that they go in search of the leadership matrix since they have no other way out anyway. Robots meet very strange robo-deer on their way. A strong wind rises and a spaceship appears in the sky, which scans the surface in search of various forms of life. Orion and his companions are hiding from the scanners because they understand that this ship belongs to the Quintessence. When the danger is left behind, the robots continue their journey and get to some kind of cave. According to their map, the leadership matrix should be there. Our heroes wander through a dark cave and stumble upon many of the first primes. Alas, they show no signs of life. There is even a Megatronus prime among them, but there is no matrix here. The robots find Alpha Trion. He is disabled, but he can be restored. Using Energon, Orion activates Trion and asks him to help them find the matrix. Upon learning the latest news, Alpha Trion is horrified. The fact is that Sentinel Prime is a traitor. He secretly works for the Quintessence and supplies them with Energon, and in return, they allow him to rule Cybertron. Many primes died because of his betrayal.
He personally dealt with the most influential Transformers and took away the matrix of leadership, but she refused to obey him and disappeared. At this moment, Sentinel Prime himself appears on the surface of Cybertron with a small detachment. He is surrounded by a huge army of Quintessence. However, the Transformers do not join the battle, but kneel before their worst enemies and give them boxes of toxic waste and Energon. Yes, the Sentinel is indeed a traitor. Our heroes are horrified by such news, but that's not all. It turns out that all Transformers are born with transformation gears. Since Orion and his companions do not have such gears, it means that Sentinel removed them in order to make his miners and scavengers feel inferior and obey him. Alpha Trion awards Orion D16, B127, and Alita the gears of the strongest and bravest primes, and this gives our heroes the ability to transform and maximize their potential. Alpha Trion also records data on the chip that proves the fact of Sentinel's betrayal. Soon, Sentinel arrives at the cave with his squad. Alpha Trion orders Orion and his comrades to urgently flee from here while he remains to take his last fight. Our heroes use their gears and transform to escape from the chase. Orion and his comrades manage to break away from the Sentinel soldiers. They want to go home and expose the traitor. Meanwhile, Alpha Trion loses and is captured by Sentinel.
Alas, the leader of Cybertron immediately executes him. Our heroes rush to the Icon, but are captured by the High Guard. These are Transformers who previously fought alongside the Primes and now have rebelled against Sentinel. Their leader Starscream believes Orion and his comrades are Sentinel spies and wants to execute them. Then D16 challenges Starscream. In the world of Transformers, everything is decided by force, so the robots begin the duel. During a tough duel, D16 defeats his opponent and calls himself the new leader of the Supreme Guard, promising to lead the Transformers into battle against Sentinel. Alas, the Sentinel soldiers find them first. Our heroes bravely fight with their opponents, but the forces are not equal. D16, B127, Starscream, and half of the High Guard are captured, and the chip with the evidence of Sentinel's betrayal is destroyed. The Alita Orions realize that the future of Cybertron now depends only on them. Together with the remaining soldiers of the Supreme Guard, they must return to Iacon and free their comrades.
The Sentinel informs D-16, B-127, Starscream, and the rest of the prisoners that it will declare them traitors and servants of the Quintessons, and then publicly execute them. The leader of Cybertron boasts that he personally dealt with Megatronus Prime and took his transformation gear, and then puts a brand with the symbol of Megatronus on D-16. Orion and Alita return to Icon. Orion goes to the miners, shows them his transformation gear, and tells them the whole truth about Sentinel Prime. Our hero convinces former colleagues to rebel against their leader. At this time, Alita and the soldiers of the Supreme Guard are rushing to our prisoners on an armored train. Miners join them. Another fierce battle begins. Sentinel Prime personally fights with the rebels. Alita finds a faithful assistant Sentinel named Aranet, and the Canopy Icon broadcasts recordings of her memory. Residents of the city learn the bitter truth about their leader and immediately rebel against him. Soon, the Transformers defeat Sentinel. D-16 wants to destroy the traitor, but Orion forbids him to do so.
A dispute begins between our friends, during which D-16 accidentally inflicts a serious injury on Orion. At first, he wants to save his friend, but then he lets him fall from a great height and crash. D-16 becomes so aggressive that he destroys all of Sentinel's assistants and then himself. He takes Megatronus gear from the former leader of Cybertron, inserts it into his chest, transforms, and declares himself the new leader of Transformers. Now D-16 calls himself Megatron and wants to destroy the whole city. The spirits of the dead Primes and even Primus himself decide that Optimus Prime is the most worthy of Transformers. They give him the lost matrix of leadership and revive him as Optimus Prime. Orion, or rather Optimus Prime, returns to Iacon and engages in battle with Megatron. The two strongest Transformers use the maximum of their capabilities, but Optimus still manages to defeat Megatron. He is a humane leader, so he does not execute his mad comrade, but expels him from the Iacon together with the High Guard. Thanks to the powerful power of the leadership matrix, Optimus Prime returns entire rivers of Energon to Iacon.
In addition, each robot gets its transformation gear back. Optimus calls all of his Transformers Autobots and gives the Quintessons an order to stay away from Cybertron. We see that the exiled Megatron renames the High Guard into the Decepticons and declares war on Optimus Prime.